Welcome, 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 welcome to the Rap Jux Podcast. Welcome, 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 welcome to the Rap Jux Podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, yo, what's good? What's up? It's your boy Prophet, PROFHIT, professional hit to all the MCs in the industry, host of the Rap Jux Podcast, coming at you again with another one. Man, look, man. How old is too old to be a gangster? When do you become too old to still practice gangsterism and talk like you're a gangster? Do you age out of that? You know, is it something that sticks with you forever? You know, is it, just a part of you? You know, it's innately within you being a gangster, doing gangster stuff, acting the same way you acted as a young gangster now as an OG. Is it something to be said about that, man? Recently in the news, man, Big U was brought in on charges. He was caught in the RICO with some stuff going on the West Coast. I don't really speak on their politics, but Big U is 58 years old. And they label him as the leader of the Rolling 60s Crips. There's been the rumor, allegedly, that he has something to do with Nipsey's death. There's been rumors of him being involved with other murders as well. Now he got picked up and he was blaming WACK 100. I think WACK is about in his late 40s, maybe 50 years old. And Big U is accusing WACK and a couple of other people that rolled with him, Loose Cannon and some other cat, 600, for basically snitching on him to the authorities. Now, what he did say may hold some validity, because he was basically saying that WACK and folks like WACK would go on these podcasts, like No Jumper, and some other types of podcasts, and basically kind of put out there things that Big U did in the name of just street talk or gossip or whatever. And knowing that, the authorities are watching social media, and, they've been tapping phones since forever, but they'll go do that nonchalantly and almost sometimes accuse it, blatantly, knowing that these charges will have to be at least investigated. So that's what Big U is kind of saying, that what WACK and his cronies were doing. But anyway, he got picked up. Well, he turned himself in. He made a video. Should have had the audio, but it's really not about the case. It's about the age of these men who still on the internet talking about their gangsters and about harming each other, and about this person is a rat, a snitch, or works for the feds, or this person is an informant. When do we age out of this, man? When? Charleston White was in the news earlier. He was talking about, there was a video that surfaced from when he was, I want to say 16 in the news clip, in the news article. It says he's 16, but some people saying he was 14. Well, he's taking the stand, and he's told a story before how he was accessory to a murder as a youth, and he was kind of like he was given juvenile life. Well, this video surfaces, and it's on a news station, and it's a whole highlight with him taking a stand and telling on his friends. And I know Charleston, he's like in his late 40s as well. But Charleston went on to defend himself and basically justifying what he did, and saying that since he was juvenile, it's not considered snitching. What he did is a definition of snitching. But he also goes on to make light of the guy he ratted on, who's still in prison. He said something about the guy tried to befriend him, in recent years, and he basically said, "No, I don't want to be your friend." And he's laughing and joking and giggling. And it's almost as if he can't be touched. And if you know Charleston White's history, he talks about the King Vons, the Nipseys, the gangs, and these street gangs who supposed to be terrors of our community. And he talks without really getting touched. He had a couple of brushes of people trying to, get at him, but for the most part, he remains untouched. And I'm not saying it's for him to get touched. So let me say that. But it's kind of ironic that he can talk that way on the internet and get away with it, being that everything's being watched and recorded, as you can see with the Big U case. Do we blame music? A lot of guys come home still on some super gangster stuff. And they're in their late 40s. We can say that, in one case. People of all ages, movie directors write movies about all type of different crimes, and no one never asks if they're too old to be done, but they're doing so. So do we ever age out of this? The other day I was watching, me and my son, we was watching Godfather. We had saw 1 and then we had saw 2. And then 1, of course, the Godfather dies. I think he died. He was 70 something when he died. And that's fictional. It's a movie. And his son Michael takes over, and by the end of 2, he looks as if he's in his 40s or late 40s. John Gotti was arrested. I think he was 54 when he was arrested and died in prison. Sammy the Bull right now is 80 years old. And all the stuff and ratting he did to get out. He still talks gangster stuff. So in one aspect, we can say that maybe, WACK and Big U and these guys who represent these gangs, that's just a part of their lifestyle. That they are the mafia, the gangsters, and the black community, and that that's just the way it is. They're in that for life, But unfortunately for them, you see, if the movies tell you anything, these mafia movies, these guys either die in jail or they die in the gang, So, one can look at it that way. But I don't know, man. I don't know if it's something that, is being promoted because mafia, that type of lifestyle, from the Scarface to the casinos to Godfathers, these movies are being pushed out, in our community, Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, even though we had some depth and storylines to them, but it was subtle violence, and in some cases lots of violence being pushed out there. New Jack City, the gangster lifestyle, it's being promoted to our youth, and it could be something deeper and even more sinister than we all know, because art usually imitates life, and now life is imitating the art. So y'all let me know, man, what y'all think in the comments, man. Am I being a little bit too putting too much into this? Should these dudes start, once you reach a certain age, you should put aside some of the gangster ways, Then again, you got that attention, it's a new currency thing, to where these dudes, the Charleston Whites, the WACK 100s, say anything to get clicks and hits and views because it equals money. And a lot of that is done out of desperation. But again, let me know in the comments, what y'all think, do you reach a point in time where you get too old to be a gangster? Should you age out of this? Are these dudes, acting childish and immature? Let me know y'all thoughts. Or maybe it's just a part of the lifestyle, and just like the mafia, they're in this thing forever. They're going to die a part of it, into it. It's our job to keep our children away from it. But unfortunately, the internet is a gift, and definitely has become a curse. So let me know in the comments what y'all think. Of course, like, share, subscribe to the video. And until the next one, peace.